So in the last video, we were fastening the framing to these concrete bases. So I've jumped ahead a little bit in this video already. So we've got FPS foam, seams taped, and spider lath installed on this one. So this one's ready for the scratch coat. We'll jump over to this one and I'll show you the process a little bit more. I've already got the FPS foam on, just with minimal fasteners. It's obviously going to get a whole lot more fasteners with the spider lath, so we just put minimal on here to get it started. And now I'm going to show you how to tape the seams, install the spider lath, and then we'll have two that are ready for a scratch coat. I believe these flashing tapes come in different widths. This happens to be Zip System brand, and it's 6-inch wide, and it works great. Extremely sticky. Seems to stick to about anything. And is perfect for this application. The hardest part about using this stuff is getting a tape started. See, I'm not kidding. That took me a good minute. See how sticky that is. It's good stuff. Just trying to make this as waterproof as possible. It's gonna have a scratch coat over the whole thing. So, I mean, water should never get into anything, but this seems like a good extra step to me. At least on these big gaps, or these seam gaps. It's raining pretty hard here and it's on a metal roof, so I'll minimize the talking. You guys luck out on that a little bit. But just to explain what I'm doing here quickly, I'm going to wrap this around all four corners, getting a few inches on each side so it covers that seam. Then once all four corners are wrapped, we'll go around the top just like we did the bottom. Theoretically, that should keep any water that's running down this, if it was to get through everything else that we're going to have on the outside of this. If it was to get through there, it should keep it from penetrating in those seams. So we'll fly through this quickly and then we'll get into something else. It's easy to get the first side around the corner going. You can get that nice and flat and straight, but then once you come around this corner, sometimes it's hard to keep the wrinkles out of it, but you see there, I'm getting wrinkles. Stuff's sticky enough. I think as long as you get it pretty flat, a couple wrinkles aren't gonna hurt much. Just kidding, it's on wheels. Okay, we got all our seams zip taped. So next we're gonna get our spider lath out here and we're gonna wrap this in lath. So bottom 3.5 inches on this is concrete, so we'll have to use a few Tapcons to hold our lath there. Everything else will be exterior screws with these plastic washers. So gotta have some fairly long screws because you gotta remember you're going through 2-inch XPS foam and then into the framing. So yeah, let's get started. So I grabbed the wrong bit. I meant to grab the bit for these Tapcons right here. I didn't notice and I was using the bit for these Tapcons. Quite the difference there. So these two are gonna get big Tapcons and then we'll get the right bit on there and the rest will be these smaller ones. Whew, that's not easy. Now those aren't going anywhere, I can tell you that. So I just go a screw every 6 inches. You use a screwdriver or something on the end and just pry it tight. Of course, if you had a second person, that would make it a little bit easier, but you can pry it pretty easily. Just go right down every 6 inches, put a screw, and should be good. Can't go too tight or you'll break these little plastic washers. So I'm sure there's better ways to do it, maybe a stronger washer, but what I'm using, you don't want them to be too tight. I already got the holes drilled for the tap cons. I actually got the right size this time. So put that right there. Keep on going with screws. All right, we got the spider lath wrapped around. So now we are trying to get these top edges. We're gonna go all the way up and right about here, and then we'll scratch coat the whole thing, even though there is gonna be a cap on this. Most likely that cap's gonna sit down on this a little bit too, so really don't need it up here probably, but just to get it sealed up, we'll scratch coat all the way over. So I'm not worrying about the corners yet. I'm gonna get these top pieces wrapped all the way around, and then we'll cut little squares that'll kind of made of this spider lath, and they'll reinforce these corners a little bit. So there'll be all kinds of screws in the corners. I've already got one over there done, so it should work. This spider lath is much easier to cut than your traditional metal lath. So far so good with this stuff. All right, getting the last corner wrapped up here. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up this phase of the project. We've got spider lath wrapped around both of these columns, and in the next video, I think we will get out the Type S mortar and start putting a scratch coat on these things. So we'll start making them look like some columns, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.